What is going on? Just wanted to check in, do a quick video about a couple of things that I've noticed as we've progressed through this week with the Giants. First and foremost, prayers go out to John Mara, the owner. Came out this week that he has cancer, and it just goes to show you that football is entertainment, and we all love to talk about the Giants, watch the Giants, and I think recently we've been down on the Giants, but at the end of the day, you don't want to see anybody get sick, or just like in the game, you don't want to see people get injured, like what happened to Neighbors. We're not wishing that. This is all in good competition and fun, and we can all have our disagreements about how Mara runs the team and nepotism and all that, but at the end of the day, without health, you really have nothing. And so, wish him well. Hope he makes a recovery, and we'll see what happens. I'm sure he'll come out the other side, and maybe this will help the Giants. I remember, when Wellington Mara was sick, that was an emotional year for the Giants, and they played some good games. And maybe they can win some games for John Mara and help him by winning some games. I'm sure that'll make him feel somewhat better while he's going through this terrible thing. So yeah, that's just tough, and I wish him well. The other thing I wanted to talk about was trades. I know there's been a lot of trade talk this week about what are the Giants going to do to replace Neighbors, even though you can't really replace him. And to be honest, I don't really think they should do too much because they're not contenders. This isn't like the Bengals where they lost Joe Burrow and it's like, oh, well, we had a shot to go deep into the playoffs, maybe even make a Super Bowl. And now if we don't figure something out, our season could be over. The Giants season, for all intents and purposes, at least for probably making it to the playoffs or going deep in the playoffs, is over. So to spend capital, whether that be draft picks, players, to trade for a guy, or even to pick up a guy in free agency that we have to pay, for a team that's ultimately not going to be going anywhere, probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We should be in evaluation mode with Dart as well as with some of these other young guys like Bo Collins. Finally get an answer on Jalen Hyatt. Is he worth keeping around? We should use this opportunity to do that. I don't think it's going to largely hurt Dart's progression to not have that true number one guy. In fact, it might even help him because it'll help him to not just always look to Neighbors. He could actually go through a progression and figure out how to win with lesser talent. And then when Neighbors comes back next year, he'll be that much better. There was talk about maybe we get DJ Moore from the Bears, maybe signing Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's done, okay? He's 32 years old. I mean, he was on the verge of being done when he left the Giants. I'd have to go back and check, but I don't even know if he's had a 1,000-yard season since he left the Giants. He might have had one on the Browns, like barely 1,000 yards. He just passed it, but he's done. He's 32. Remember, too, he's not that big. He's like 5'11" or something. It's not like he's 6'4", where it's like, oh, well, he can't run, but he can still go up and make a... No. He's a smaller guy. He relied on speed, and he doesn't really have that anymore. So that's not really a good option, and I don't really see any teams trading us anything without us giving up valuable pieces that we're trying to build around, like giving up Thibodeau or, somebody on the offensive line or something like that. And we shouldn't do that. We should see what we have here in Collins, in Hyatt. I heard there was talk about trying to get Trey Hawkins from the Chargers because Dart played with him at Ole Miss, but that was the Chargers' second-round pick this past year. They're not, even if he's not high on the depth chart right now, they're not going to trade away their second-round pick in his first, in his rookie year. So I think we should just stick with what we have. This is an evaluation year, especially with putting in Dart, so evaluate. So that's how I feel about that and all the trades. And then lastly, we have officially entered the Dart era. And I know some people want to poo-poo and say, well, he only threw for 111 yards. He had 2 total touchdowns. First off, remember that this is against the Chargers defense, that top 5 defense in the league. This, Daniel Jones, and I said it in my other video, had a better debut, and he did. And look what happened there. So maybe it's better to start with a more muted debut, and that way you can kind of ascend. Where I feel like Daniel Jones, that was his best game, was his first game he ever played. He never got back to those heights. Maybe the Vikings playoff win. And even that, I don't think statistically he did as good, but it was a playoff win. So, but even if some of these people are right, and I agree too, Dart did not wow in his debut statistically, but he does more than just what's on the stat sheet, okay? He helped the offense possess the ball for more than 35 minutes. That helps the defense tremendously. He converted a lot of third downs. I think he was 7 of 11 or 7 of 13. I don't know, something. I think 7 of 13 on third downs with him in the game. That's good. And, just watching the way he plays, even though he made mistakes, and he's a rookie, but he looked fairly calm. He didn't look like he was overwhelmed out there. But more importantly, he brings energy, and he brings, I guess, that it factor. I just saw a video of the sights and sounds from the game, and after the game, he's in the locker room, and he said 2 things that I think really go a long way with the team. And the first one was, listen, we should be going out here every week and expecting to win. So run every rep at practice, every one-on-one, every drill that you do as if we are going out there to win this week, because that is what we are here to do, right? And that is a simple thing, but that helps to indoctrinate the winning mindset into these teams, versus I'm sure Daniel Jones wanted to win here, but he wasn't vocal about it, and his body language wasn't that energetic, let's go win. It was almost kind of like when they won, he kind of felt like, ooh, that was an accident, like where it's almost like Dart is trying to will the team to win, and that's what the Giants need around here, at least right now. And the other thing he said was, credit to the defense, the offense. We were a little sloppy at times and we couldn't get it done. So thanks to the defense for picking us up and really carrying us through. And again, that goes a long way for the defense to be recognized by the quarterback and to understand that, they could be doing more to help, but they kind of fell a little short this week and the defense helped pick them up. And these are 2 little things, but coming from a rookie, coming from a quarterback, this is what the team wants to hear. And this is the little pieces that when you see him come into the game and, oh my God, the team has a different energy. These are the little things that you do off the field that help bring that energy on the field, right? Not to mention he has a great relationship with Scatterboo. They're almost like the same player. And he has a great relationship with Theo Johnson, the tight end. I saw that he brought him along when he was looking for apartments in New York City, and then they went to a victory dinner after the Chargers game. So he's pretty close with him too. Again, these little things matter. I don't think Russell Wilson was doing these things. I don't think Daniel Jones was necessarily doing these things. And especially in Wilson's case, the Giants have a lot of core players that are under 30. And Russell Wilson is 37 and on his way out of the league. So it's a different vibe from him. And the guys feel that. They don't feel like, they almost feel like Wilson is the general and they are the, militia that's just got to go out and sacrifice themselves. Where I feel with Dart, they feel like he's down there with them, and that really brings an attitude and an energy to the team. Now, that being said, he's got to be more controlled with it, because you can't go out there and just play with reckless abandon. He's going to get injured then, and we can't have that. I mean, with Neighbors down, there will be nothing to watch if he gets injured. So, but yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick little video about my thoughts here and some things I saw, and to mention about hoping that Mara gets better and has a speedy recovery from his cancer diagnosis. But yeah, so we're on to the Saints, and it's a very real possibility this could be a trap game and we could lose. We exerted a lot of emotion to beat the Chargers. It's a road game. Even though the Saints aren't very good, it's still tough to play in that stadium. And even in the height of the Giants with Eli Manning, they always tended to have these games where it's like they would beat a great Cowboys team, right? And then go lose to like the Jaguars or something that were really not that good. So it could happen, but again, this is more of an evaluation year. Would it be nice to win the Saints game, stack a win, stack 2 wins, and then potentially be playing to get to 500 against the Eagles? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, let's not lose sight of this is an evaluation year. This is to evaluate what kind of player Dart is, and is this the type of player we want to move forward with? To evaluate some of the other receivers on the team and see like do we have a hidden gem somewhere that we can unlock their potential, and because there's still a spot on the roster for a number 2 receiver, right? You have Neighbors as number 1, and then Slayton and Wandale are kind of like slot guys, even though they're using Slayton as the number 2. He's not really a true number 2, so there is an opportunity for somebody to win a true number 2 position at wide receiver. So that's what most of this year is going to be about. But the games will definitely be a lot more fun with Dart. So that's why he needs to stay healthy and be a little bit more controlled with his play. But love the energy, love the leadership already as a rookie. And I hope his ascent continues, including the fact that he had the number 1 selling jersey this week after his game. So, let's continue that ascent. And if we can stack some wins, that would just be a bonus. So there you go.